Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and today we will be featuring another succulent, and this time it's gonna be the Sedum Pachphyllum, also known as banana in the Philippines, and in other parts of the world they call this as yung many fingers na succulent. This kind of succulent is unique kasi nga if you're gonna look at its leaves, para siyang finger-shaped leaves, and yung tips ng kanyang leaves are nagkakaroon siya ng reddish color when stressed. Itong banana succulent is sobrang daling alagaan even though na hindi mo siya bigyan ng enough attention or you don't have much time to take good care of this. It can survive on its own unlike sa ibang mga succulents. Before we talk about yung different care tips for our banana plant, let's try to have a side-by-side comparison muna ng ating banana versus yung ating jelly beans, especially for beginners na nanonood sa ngayon. Maybe they are confused about the differences ng ating banana plant versus yung tinatawag nating jelly beans plant. On your right, this one is yung ating jelly beans. It's characterized as having these, ayan siya greenish yung kanyang color with red tips din. Also, in this case, it's also greenish but it's really more on the lighter side na pagka-green. Both of these succulents are already matured sizes, and makikita nyo naman yung kanilang mga leaves bigger, so parang 2 to 3 times bigger yung leaves ng ating banana as compared dito sa ating jelly beans. Let's try to look more on into details ng ating banana plant. Usually upright yung kanyang pagtubo, pataas siya, but as it grows older, nagkakaroon tayo ng pagka-curve na ganyan siya. So makikita naman natin sa ating screen na pa-curve pataas yung leaves na itong ating banana. During the cold season, like for example, pagpasok ng November or December, we will be expecting na yung kanyang tips would be redder in color. And at the same time, if we will give this full sun exposure for a long periods of time, magkakaroon din tayo ng red tips like what we have here and also with this one. Ayan siya, diba? If your succulent is mature enough and happy enough, magkakaroon siya ng flower na color yellow with tiny yellow petals. Because of its unique shape, yung ating banana could be an ornamental plant, and it's really ideal for planting in soil or in containers, and ilagay nyo siya sa inyong mga garden. And at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, sobrang daling alagaan itong ating succulents, whether nasa full sun siya, nasa shade, whether moist ang kanyang soil or dry soil, still it is able to thrive and survive even if napabayaan natin siya for long periods of time. Kasi they really require little attention. And for example, I have here, ito. Ayan. So, imagine the last time na na-check ko itong aking succulent na to, wala pa ito, but it took me siguro almost 2 weeks since last ko nakita itong ating banana. And as you can see, may mga tumubo ng wild plant sa kanya, and this is also a proof na kahit na na-ignore natin siya for quite a long period of time, still it is doing great on its own. Although makikita natin sa pinakailalim, this one, nag-start na siyang mag-dry. Ayan na siya. Ay, natanggal na agad. Ayan na. So, kung makikita ninyo yung kanyang leaf, ayan na siya. So, shriveled na siya. Nag-start na siyang ma-dehydrate because I think for more than 2 weeks hindi ko pa rin sila nadiligan. If may napansin kayong tumubong mga wild plants sa inyong succulent pots, then all you need to do is remove it kasi we want na yung nutrients from the soil na nandito sa ating maliit na pot would go sa ating succulent and not for these wild plants. Kaya all we need to do is just uproot. Ayan, tanggalin lang natin siya. Sobrang liit lang naman pala ng kanyang roots, but still it is better for us to remove yung mga ganito, diba? If we will be talking about yung kanilang temperature ranges, they do well sa temperature from 12 degrees to 18 degrees centigrade, although they really prefer this kind of warm temperature, and since we are here in the Philippines, this could also be one of those succulent na perfect for our location. Moving on sa kanilang light requirements, ang ating mga banana plants require yung kanilang full filtered sun. Kasi pag ilalagay natin siya sa isang area where it's shaded or they are not receiving that sufficient sunlight, the problem would be mag-ethulate sila, or yun yung humahaba yung kanilang stems and hindi magiging maganda yung kanilang itsura. Next is yung ating watering na ating mga succulent. I am following a schedule pag nagdidilig sa aking mga succulents. Usually once a week, every Sundays. And more than 1 week ko na silang hindi nadiligan. Again, I'm using the soak and dry method. It's always basic na we will allow yung ating soil to dry out completely before watering. Unfortunately, pag naglagay tayo ng ating decorative pebble stones on top, hindi natin madaling ma-assess kung dry na ba yung kanyang soil. Unlike, for example, yung aking favorite na container, which is yung ating recycled containers like this, you would easily see na dry. So again, this one also, almost 2 weeks ko na siya hindi nadiligan. Medyo madumi nga lang siyang tignan pag ganitong containers ang gagamitin natin, kasi it really promotes yung algae growth, lalo na pagkadilig natin, then na-expose siya sa sun. Doon lumalabas yung ating algae growth. Although, mapapansin naman natin na completely dry na siya, and even yung ating algae dito, nag-dry out na rin sila kasi they are not receiving water for the past 2 weeks. This is rainwater. All you need to do is we will try to avoid yung kanyang leaves. And even though matubigan natin yung kanyang leaves, it's also okay naman. But for me, as much as possible, I wanted to avoid na matubigan yung itong part na ito. But instead, I will just go directly sa ating pinaka-soil. And diligan lang natin siyang ganun. So, sa paligid-ligid. Ayan, nakikita nyo naman siguro. Ayan, so even here, ayan siya. So, ganun ka-dry yung ating soil. And ayan, nag-start na siyang mag-drip all over. And since it's gonna be a soak and dry method, we need to water yung ating succulents 3 times. Ayan. So, making sure na all areas are watered, kasi sometimes ang problema pag well-draining yung ating soil, pagkadilig natin dito, lumalabas siya agad. And we think na nadiligan na completely yung ang ating soil, but it's actually not. This one now is the second soaking. Ihintayin lang natin na completely mag-drain yung nasa taas. Then after that one, we could start the third na watering. Ayan siya. So tumutulo na siya. And now we are ready for the third watering. So, if mapapansin niyo sa pinaka gitna na ako naglalagay, kasi mostly yung kanyang roots ay nasa gitna. So next is yung ating soil requirement. For this type of succulent, it can handle many different types of soil. Kahit na anong soil yun, whether it's gonna be garden soil, black soil, or your special cacti and succulent mix, okay yun sa kanya. You can make use of any soil mix that you want. Madami tayong nabibili online nowadays. But for me, I'm using yung ating compost plus black soil mix. And if you want, you can always add ang ating mga perlite or pumice stones for better drainage. Kasi magkakaiba tayo. For me, it took me 6 months before I finally figure out which kind of soil is perfect for me. Kasi sometimes what works well with me won't work with you, and what works with you won't work for me. Ganun lang kasi yun. So you always need to keep on experimenting. It's not because na it's branded, mas maganda na siya, or it's not because you just made your own potting mix is hindi na magiging healthy yung inyong mga succulents. In front of you are 2 kinds of ating banana plant. As far as I can remember, itong banana to, ginamitan natin siya ng cacti mix. And naglagay rin tayo ng pumice stone sa kanya. And for this one, I just made use of a typical garden soil. I think that's more on the repotting soil mix na vlog. You can check it out. Both of them are healthy. Ayan, makikita nyo naman, diba? There's no big difference. Both are healthy. In fact, yung ginamitan natin ng garden soil, madami siyang offset. Ayan siya. So may offsets siya doon. Ayan, so 2 offsets. And yeah, I think may 2 offset siya. May, ayun, pangatlo yung nasa ilalim. Unlike for this one, may offset din siya sa ilalim. Ayan, nag-iisa lang siya. Sa kanilang leaves, mas bigger. Kumbaga, mas chubbier yung nandito compared dito. Next is we have the repotting ng ating banana plants. Usually, I repot yung ating mga succulents every 2 years. That's the standard time wherein pag nag-repot tayo, we are trying to remove everything. We will change the soil. We will change the pot. Everything siya. But sometimes, like for example, this one, wala pa ngang 2 years, just 3 months pa lang or 2 months pa lang siyang nandito sa ating nursery pot na ito. But right now, it's trying to outgrow yung kanyang pot. And anytime soon, I will be repotting this. Lastly, we have yung propagation ng ating banana. And sobrang dali lang siyang i-propagate. First, you can try yung ating leaf propagation. If you are wondering kung anong nangyari sa kanya, it's because of propagation. We are trying to propagate banana leaves from time to time. And ganyan ang nangyari sa kanya. To remove yung kanyang leaf, you can just twist it left or right. So, don't just pull it. Kasi pag ganun ang gagawin ninyo, hindi magiging successful yung inyong leaf propagation. So, ayan siya. After yung matanggal, pwede nyo siyang ilagay sa inyong propagation tray. Make sure na yung inyong soil is dry. Or you can just simply put it here, then wait for a couple of days. Or maybe after 1 week or 2 weeks, magkakaroon na rin siya ng growth. And that's it. Your propagation is successful. Another way of propagation is through yung ating beheading, wherein we're gonna cut itong mga ito. And in fact, itong dalawang nasa harapan natin are beheaded succulents. And yung kanilang mother plant is actually this one. Ayan. So, itong plant na to, ito siya. And itong plant na ito is ito siya. Dito ko siya binihead before. Dito ako nagtanggal. Kinat ko siya. After a couple of months, ang daming tumubong offset sa kanya. From 2 plants, naging 4 sila. So, that's how you're gonna propagate it. Ayan. So, kung masisilip ninyo, dyan tayo nag-behead before. Ayan, papalakihin lang natin ito. Then, same process. Pag lumaki na siya, and when it's ready to be beheaded, we can immediately do that one. If you notice na nag-rot na or nangitim na yung pinaka-base ng ating stem, we cannot save it anymore kasi patay na po yan. All we need to do is behead sa upper part na healthy pa, then you can just plant it again. And number 2 is yung ating sudden leaf loss. So kahit na i-shake natin siya ng ganyan kalakas, if your plant is healthy, hindi basa-basa malalagas yung kanilang leaf. Kahit i-ganyan-ganyan natin siya, see, hindi naman basa-basa matatanggal yan as long as healthy yung inyong mga plant. But if sudden na nalalagas yung inyong leaf, it's really because of, again, overwatering. That's why you have to be extra careful. Pag mabilis malagas yung dahon ng inyong mga succulent, it's because of overwatering. And I think that's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more upcoming succulent care guides. And you may also visit our Facebook page at Desert Succulent PH. So thank you guys.